Hey, welcome in. Ready to kick off a Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show here on 989 The Answer. You can listen online at 989theanswer.com. Hour number 2 will stream on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page. We are ready to roll. Coming out of commercial. Here we go. Well, the Reds and Indians played last night in the, I already goofed up. I'm 5 seconds into a Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show, and I know no one will hold me more accountable on calling the Cleveland Guardians, the Cleveland Indians, than my producer for the day and good friend Alan Rogers. Alan, I profusely apologize for calling the Guardians the Indians. The Guardians won last night's game. Yeah, we threw up a little bit in our mouths at that one. But, hey, it was not as good a day for the Trans Lobby. The Trans Lobby lost a doubleheader, or at least has in the last few days, as this morning Leah Thomas, truthfully known as Will Thomas, lost his appeal before the Court for Arbitration in Sport. Yeah, he lost his appeal to Sanity a long time ago, but he has, unfortunately, an NCAA championship that some actual female swimmer should have. And Will Thomas, trying to compete as Leah Thomas, wanted to compete in the Olympics. And in order to do that, he had to try to compete in the U.S. Swimming trials, which are coming up. I believe they're this weekend. And the Court of Arbitration in Sport says no, 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 and no. He can compete in USA Swimming events, which, what is wrong with USA Swimming? I mean, they're idiots, of course. But lost his appeal today and will not be competing in the Olympics. World Aquatics, which is the sane governing body of swimming in the world, said in a statement that it welcomes the Court of Arbitration in Sport decision, calling it, quote, a major step forward in our efforts to protect women's sports. Yes, and I would also say that that same thing applies to a Texas judge's ruling, which has blocked the Biden administration's efforts to extend Title IX to not be Title IX anymore. Title IX was created 50 years ago to expand opportunities for women in sports. And the Biden administration was going to impose upon every school, college, high school, school district that receives federal funding, and pretty much all of them do, except the rare occasions like Columbus Classical Academy here in town does not accept any federal funding. The Biden administration on August 1st of this year is going to force anti-discrimination policies, which would be extremely discriminatory toward women who don't want men in their locker rooms, don't want men in their bathrooms, don't want men taking opportunities away from them like Leah Thomas did away from NCAA female swimmers. Well, a Texas judge, his name is Reed O'Connor, he was appointed by George W. Bush, blocked that, says that the Biden administration's attempt to expand, basically cancel Title IX, eliminate it by allowing men to be considered women, is, quote, an agenda wholly divorced from the text structure and contemporary context of Title IX. Good for you. There I go again. Yes, I know. Trying to weld myself to biblical truth. How dare I? Judge O'Connor goes on, to allow the Biden administration's unlawful action to stand would be to functionally rewrite Title IX in a way that shockingly transforms American education and usurps a major question from Congress. This is not how our democratic system functions. Wait a minute, Judge O'Connor. Don't you know these are the people who are protecting democracy? I mean, Merrick Garland is protecting democracy by refusing to comply with the congressional subpoena. What says stewarding democracy more than denying a duly issued congressional subpoena? What says stewarding democracy more than a president who brags about going around a Supreme Court ruling which says he can't forgive student loan forgiveness? What stewards democracy more than a president who imposes an unconstitutional vaccine mandate on America through OSHA because he can't get it through the Congress? What stewards democracy more than a president who imposes an unconstitutional rent moratorium on landlords during the pandemic. I mean, Judge O'Connor, he's got to pay more attention, Alan. He's just got to pay more attention. Constitutional republic? He's crazy. He's crazy. Well, I had the pleasure 2 days ago to sit in on a Zoom call with an attorney from the Heritage Foundation. I got on the call because I want to be informed, and this was right after the Texas judge ruled. But I'm not sure his ruling was released yet, because this attorney was really on top of the Biden administration expansion of Title IX. And basically, I found out some really interesting things. I say all the time that when you see reported in the media, and there's another report in the media today about, oh, in Circleville, oh, some guy's pride flag got stolen. His pride flag got stolen, and it's a story on NBC4i.com. It'll probably be in the Dispatch. They write. I'm keeping track of a stack of stories published on local websites during June of all the affronts to Pride Week. Okay. Pride Week Pride Week. I'm so sorry. I need to beg your forgiveness again, Alan. It's Pride Month. It's not Pride Week. I'm still stuck in the 90s when they only had a week. But here's the thing. Pride is not only one of the 7 things God hates. It's the first one, by the way. But the LGBTQ movement is a political movement. It is a political movement, just like many political movements. And I am all for political movements having freedom of expression. I'm 100% free speech guy. But what I'm not for is you telling me that you get to have free speech and I don't, that I don't get to say I disagree with the speech you just expressed. When you see stories reported about the theft of a pride flag, ask yourself, have I ever seen a story reported about the theft of a Trump sign off someone's lawn? Because a Trump sign is a political statement. A Biden sign is a political statement. And it is not journalism's job to prioritize, or the Justice Department's job, or any police department's job. And the Columbus police are doing this. The Whitehall police are doing this. I'm sure the Circleville police are doing this. The CPD already investigated and found guilty the guy who urinated on a pride flag. Okay, fine. I've got a friend who has had multiple Trump signs stolen from his lawn in Upper Arlington. And every time they steal it, he puts another one up, and sometimes more than one. And his brother has encouraged him to electrify them. He doesn't even report it because he doesn't want to waste his time, because he knows it's not going to go anywhere. But we don't have a 2-tiered system of justice, because when you have a 2-tiered system of justice, you don't have a system of justice. So I object to the whole characterization of, oh, we have a 2-tiered system of justice. No, we really don't. We don't have a justice system at all. And we saw it yesterday with Merrick Garland found in contempt by Congress for defying a congressional subpoena. And he's like, because we're going to continue to stand up and defend democracy. Well, you sure have a funny way of showing it. So the trans lobby takes 2 L's. And I'm happy with that, because I'm on the side of truth. But the trans people can continue to make their case. They continue to say that, trans women are women and protect trans kids and all that kind of stuff. And, I don't object to protect trans kids. I want to protect all kids. I don't want any kid to be bullied. I would never stand for any kid being bullied. But what I object to is if you express an opinion and you back it up, even if you back it up with facts about the high suicide rate among trans kids. And by the way, the Daily Wire is out with more portions of the transgender school shooter in Nashville. I'll share that with you. This is someone who is deeply troubled by trans ideology who was clearly acting in a manner that is unhinged from reality. But if you submit that as evidence that telling kids they're born in the wrong body, essentially God hates you because your friend Bill, your friend Angela were born in the right bodies. You were born in the wrong body. Therefore, God hates you. Therefore, there is no God. There is no intelligent designer. If you present that opinion, then you are not allowed to express that opinion. You lose your job. You lose your standing. You lose your friends. So I will always stand up for the free exchange of ideas. I don't want to silence people. I want more conversation on it, because when you get more conversation on these topics, I hate to even use this word, logic of the trans lobby, the viewpoint of the trans lobby is not even an inch deep, and it's 1,000 miles wide, but there's no truth in it, and that becomes readily apparent.
Mostly sunny, warm afternoon. The high today 89. Partly cloudy, thunderstorm in the area tonight late. Low 68. A thunderstorm around tomorrow morning. Partly sunny, just warm. The high 82. Limited sunshine, a little bit less humid on Saturday. High Saturday at 82. Partly sunny, a hot day on Sunday. The high 90. Partly sunny, a very hot and humid day on Monday. High Monday at 96. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
You've probably heard the saying of knowledge is power. Well, I'm Bruce Hooley, and I'm here to tell you that is absolutely true when it comes to the doctors at QC Kinetics. I consulted with them, and now I have such a greater understanding of advanced regenerative medicine and why they are able to get so many people who have pain, elbow, hip, knee, back, neck, out of pain, because every visit in the protocol, in the treatment, is designed to do a specific thing, and they are getting tremendous results at their clinics in Dublin and Gahanna. The treatment and the science behind it is so detailed, I can't get into all of it here, but I was just so impressed with how comprehensive it is and how passionate the people who are being treated are about the relief that they have received. So why don't you take advantage of the free consultation that QC Kinetics offers you by calling 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544, 380-208-4544, and set up your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready to take the next step, Google Salem Surround Columbus right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free.
20
Just
seconds.
Text trade to 76626 Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
Well, the appointments are lining up for PatriotSwitch.com products, and I love talking to you about why Patriot Switch would make sense for your family. It's been about 2.5 years since we converted to PatriotSwitch.com products. It's nice not to have to go to the big box stores and buy products off shelves. Saves us gas, saves us time, shipped right to our door. That's fantastic. But more importantly is the larger picture, which is, A, we're getting better products. They're made from plants and plant extracts, all made by one manufacturer here in the U.S. They don't advertise. I have to tell you about it. You have to request becoming a member of the shopping club. The mouthwash, toothpaste, makeup, body lotion, nutritional supplements, cleaning products. My family loves them all. And the price, very comparable, sometimes even less than what you pay at the store. But you also are striking a blow against woke capitalism, which funds a lot of the social causes that you object to and that we rail against here on the show every day. So leave me your information and I'll reach out and maybe be talking to you soon. PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce. Well, as I said at the top of the show, a doubleheader loss for the Trans Lobby this week. Maybe even a tripleheader, as the Daily Wire has details on the Nashville school shooters manifesto. But before I get into that, let me take you back through what I started to tell you about the Zoom call that I was on this week with an attorney from the Heritage Foundation about this threat from the Biden administration to expand Title IX. And they were going to impose upon schools, colleges, high schools, school districts, August 1st, this sledgehammer that if you did not cease to discriminate on the basis of gender, in other words, if you didn't allow a boy who said he was a girl to use the girls' restroom at your high school or middle school or elementary school, they would pull all your federal funding. They could pull all your federal funding. Well, I mean, no school did. I asked the people in the district that I serve, would this be a big hit? Could we live without this? Could we defy it? Answer, no. No chance. Can't do it. First of all your federal lunch programs gone. Can't do it, okay? So, in every school district, it's not like there's, unless you're Columbus City Schools, swimming in cash, okay? But they spend everything they have because the teachers' unions demand it. So they spend every cent of it and very rarely bank it. So that's not an option. You can't just say, okay, well, so what? Forget you. We're not going to deal with that. We're not going to take your federal funding. We'll soldier on. You can ask for a while to say, hey, you're corporate, business people in the community, private citizens, can we offset? It's not sustainable. But what I found out on this Zoom call, and shout out to Kelly Coles and people at Moms for America for setting this up, is that these investigations, like Biden has been, if you don't do this, we're going to come in and investigate you. Oh, wow, that sounds bad. A lot of people in suits from the Justice Department coming in. The investigations are largely done via email. Okay, so this is on paper. But here was the real kicker. In 50 years, you know how many schools have had their federal funding denied for not complying with Title IX or being investigated by the feds under the guise of, if you don't do this, this, or this, we're going to pull your federal funding? You know what the number is? Zero. No school has ever lost their federal funding from any administration. So this is empty promises. And this is what they try to get you to do, is react to what? Fear. They're trying to get you to be so afraid you won't try them. And 25 states have already tried them. 25 states have said, we're not doing this. Texas has said, we're not doing this. Ohio has said, we're not doing this. Now you say, well, I saw the other day, you got the woke judge in Franklin County Common Pleas Court, Michael Holbrook, who blocked House Bill 68, blocked the SAFE Act. Ohio, you can't block the transgender surgeries, Bruce. Michael Holbrook, one judge, says you can't do it. Well, that is set for trial July the 15th. Now it's in Franklin County Common Pleas Court. But if this goes to the Supreme Court of Ohio, and this is the only way this nonsense ends. This is the only way this nonsense ends, is for the Supreme Court of the United States of America to take this up and say, no, No, transgender people do not have the right. And you can say, well, we got a 6-3 majority. We're fine. Gorsuch has already proven to be very, very, very shaky on this issue. And John Roberts, can you count on John Roberts? So now you go from 6-3, all of a sudden you go to 5-4 the other side. But they've got a way in it. I hope sanity will prevail and we'll get a final resolution on this, because otherwise, you know, like I say, the left never hold, they never hold a victory party. They're always pushing. They never celebrate their wins. They got to in the Supreme Court, mifepristone, the abortion. Now, I said the Daily Wire has obtained the transgender shooter in Nashville's manifesto. And I'm just going to read portions of it. In one passage, the shooter rails against, quote, Christian friends that her parents have encouraged her to make. The manifesto in her own handwriting says, parents actually believe religion can change nature. That could explain why I don't practice religion anymore. Let kids think for themselves. I've told you guys before, I start my day with at least enough sit down, quiet time to read the one chapter in Proverbs that corresponds with the date of the month. So today's the 13th. I'm in Proverbs 13. If you read Proverbs and do it in a disciplined basis, and you read a chapter every single day, and small doses are better because then you can process it, then you remember it, you underline things that jump out at you that day. And what you will find is you will remember many, many, many of these verses. And the theme of Proverbs is truth, is wisdom, is the wisdom of God comes from a, quote, fear of the Lord. Not a fear of, oh my goodness, God's going to do terrible things to me if I don't obey, but fear being in awe of him, exalting him, extolling him, recognizing that he is the authority in your life. And Proverbs has a lot to say about fools. And the people who subscribe to this theory that extolling God is a waste of their time are fools. I mean, they are fools. And so this is a deeply troubled young lady masquerading as a man. In another place, she writes, F parents who oppose trans ideology, who think of themselves first and their preference of conservative religion. She says she would kill to have parents who'd have given her so-called puberty blockers as a child. This woman's 28 years old. 28 years old. She's obviously troubled. She's obviously mentally ill. But this is a false narrative that people who oppose trans ideology are thinking of themselves first. And you want to walk around in a dress? I don't care. But when you are a child and you're trying to co-opt children into this movement, because your movement is inherently unable to sustain itself, because the LGBTQ movement is not going to reproduce at a rate where it can survive, let alone grow. So that's why they come after your kids, is because they can't create enough of their own kids to do it. You view our objection to it as, you know, thinking of ourselves first. No, we're thinking of you. Sometimes a person doesn't know what's best for them. This young woman who did the shooting, who killed 3 children and 3 adults, obviously did not know what was best for her. Did this end well for her? Of course not.
With SRN News, I'm Jeremy House in Washington. The Supreme Court has unanimously preserved access to a medication that was used in nearly 2/3 of all abortions in the U.S. last year. The justices ruled that pro-life groups lack the legal right to sue over the Federal Food and Drug Administration's approval of mifepristone. A summit of the group of 7 leading industrialized nations has opened in Italy. Negotiators reached agreement hours before the official
got a question on social media. I'll have to direct message you my answer.
Loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets as collateral. Russian officials say U.S. reporter Evan Gershkovich, jailed in Russia for over a year on espionage charges, will stand trial in a city in the Ural Mountains. On Wall Street, the Dow is off 221 points. The Nasdaq is ahead by 33. More details at srnews.com.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898. And I say this information helps you achieve
March of 2022, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Now, he's on a mission to serve God, to be the voice of and for the people. He's Brandon Tatum, and you can hear him weeknights from 8 to 11 on The Officer Tatum Show on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Join me, Dennis Prager, on an unforgettable Bible cruise to the Caribbean, November 29th to December 8th. 2024. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. Amid profound conversations, I'll share about the Bible and my insights into current events in a way that I believe you will really enjoy. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
The Tilton family at Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch in Columbus and just off Creekside in Gahanna. For more info, check out tiltonsauto.com. Take it to Tilton's.
Hear from one of America's most important public intellectuals on the Victor Davis Hanson Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
If you were a billionaire and Donald Trump put up a golf course, would you buy it? I wouldn't. Not because I wouldn't want to help Donald Trump, but they'd go after me. Find a statue, I got the man, you find the crime. That's how they would operate.
Subscribe to the Victor Davis Hanson Show today on Apple, Spotify, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. News.
15 seconds.
Passion. Here, 98.9 FM. The Answer. Anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
We got a debate party coming up, June the 27th, Dave & Buster's. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Yes, it does. If you've ever had Dave & Buster's food, you know it is delicious. But what if you could couple it with some riveting commentary and some uplifting conversation and the encouragement of hanging out with like-minded patriots? You can do all that for $10. That's what the tickets are at 98.9theanswer.com. I had a listener to the show reach out to me today on Twitter, and I absolutely love his Twitter handle. I don't have permission to use his name, but his last name is Straight, and he makes a clever play on words with the use of his last name in his Twitter handle. And so I hope he is there because he inquired about buying a ticket. All you need to do is go to 989theanswer.com to do so. Bring the kids. They can play in the game room while you tackle serious matters like watching Joe Biden stumble all over himself as he debates Donald Trump. 989theanswer.com. Get your tickets now. Very interesting story today in the Columbus Dispatch. That's a sentence I don't say very often, unless it's very interesting because it's stupid. This story is not interesting because it's stupid. It's interesting because it's enlightening, but it's only enlightening if you're able to read between the lines. Now, I mean that figuratively, not literally. Cole Behrens writes, While the Columbus City School Board deliberates whether to close up to 20 schools, the district already has a portfolio of a dozen properties it doesn't directly use, costing nearly $400,000 annually to maintain. Now, for a district with $100 million in new money coming in from a levy and a $60 million annual capital improvement budget, $400,000 sounds like chump change that you might find in the couch in the teacher's lounge. But it is nevertheless $400,000. And what I find most interesting here is that Cole Behrens writes that the properties were declared vacant from 1979 to as recently as 2018. Now, my West Liberty Salem High School math, I think, still functions well enough for me to know that 1979 to 2024 is 45 years. What would be the purpose of Columbus City Schools? Like, at what point in the 45-year continuum would you go, well, we're going to hang on to that school? I don't know. We might need it. We might get an influx of leftists come in here and decide to repatriate, depressed areas of the city. We probably should hang on to it. 10 years later, we've been hanging on to that property for 10 years. It's rat infested. It's, the weeds. We got to mow think we can let go of it now? No, I think maybe 30 years in we could let go of it. Maybe 40 years in we could hang on to it. Now, why would they want to hang on to a property for 45 years? Because there is a state law that declares that when a school district wants to sell a building, it must first solicit bids for that building from a high-performing community or charter school. Oh, so that's why. There's your answer, ladies and gentlemen. Because if there's anything these schools that oppose school vouchers do not want, it is more educational options for the school children they are already underserving. And so if Columbus City Schools sold these vacant buildings to entities that wanted to open charter schools or private schools, I guarantee you those buildings would not be vacant very long in Columbus City Schools areas. I told you the story yesterday of one high-performing private academy where a young girl, 8 years, I think she's in the 8th grade, said that at Buckeye Middle School, she was discouraged to pursue learning because it made her act white. And that she's now landed at this school that has consequences for action, instills discipline, and that she is achieving at the level that she always aspired to, and that she wants to be an inspiration to her brothers and sisters. We can't have that proliferating in Columbus City Schools areas. Yes. $400,000. Yes, that's what it's costing. $400,000. Yeah, the teachers, they went to San Diego and stayed in a big swanky hotel right on the water. I don't know how much that costs, but hey, school board, you're missing an opportunity to get out of town. So this is not a surprise to me, nor is it a surprise to me that the head of the teachers union, John Coniglio, says he thinks there can be a public use for vacant buildings, including adult education, daycare, and job training. Let me see. If I had a business, let's say I had a movie theater and I wanted to sell it, would it be easier to sell it to someone else who wanted to open a movie theater? Or would it be easier to sell it to somebody who wanted to convert it into apartments? I think it would be easier if there were someone who wanted to open a movie theater there to sell it to somebody who wanted to open a movie theater, because there would be very little, in fact, maybe even zero conversion cost. But that is not the approach that Columbus City Schools takes. Now, let's get to the mission of Columbus City Schools, which I think they still say is to educate children. Is it to educate only Columbus children who go to Columbus City Schools? I mean, actually, yes, because those are the only kids that do John Coniglio's Columbus Education Association any good. I would think they would care about all kids getting an education, because aren't we all in agreement that education is the key to raising your standard of living and establishing a good future for yourself? So I would love to hear an explanation, only because it would be highly entertaining, because it would be a blatant lie, from the Columbus Board of Education as to why they are hanging on to these buildings for up to 45 years to keep charter schools and private schools that want to open alternative forms of education in those areas. I would love to just hear the explanation. It would be entertaining, I'm sure, because it would be a blatant lie. So, in light of that, it is also entertaining that the Upper Arlington School Board, which, you know, nobody's ever mistaken Upper Arlington for Columbus City Schools, even though Upper Arlington is doing its best over the last 20 years to move closer to the lack of education of students in Columbus City Schools. UA schools seem hell-bent on joining hands with them. The 3-2 vote of the board on Tuesday to join the statewide school districts, 200 of them, who oppose school vouchers for students. Again, I go back to my original statement. Shouldn't everyone in education be about making sure that every child is educated as best as possible? Now, I understand, and I don't have a problem with your territorial interest in having as many students as possible attend your school. I don't oppose that. And I don't oppose your attitude that your school is the best option for every child. That's fine. I don't have an opposition to that. In fact, I feel that way in the district where I am. But here we go. My local teachers union is going to go, then why do you send your kids to private schools? I send my kids to private schools because during the pandemic, the Madison County Health Commissioner insisted upon masking in my school. I did not want my children to be masked. I sent them to a private school where they were not masked, and they asked me not to make them the new kid a second time. I made them the new kid in the middle of their schooling. That's not fun for anybody, but I'm not going to make them the new kid again. I gave them the choice. You want to go back? Schools are fine. I got an inside view. Everything's great, but they don't want to be the new kid again. Okay, fine. I'm not going to force them to be the new kid again. So there you go. Take that to your little, next teachers meeting. And when you try to disparage me on social media, like you do, some of you. But the thing with believing you have a great school district, the thing with believing every kid ought to go to your school district should not usurp your overriding desire to have every child be educated as best they can, as best as that child can. But at Upper Arlington, they continue to operate under this, it's not a false narrative, it's a lie, that money for Ed Choice scholarships takes money away from public school funding. That is not true. It is absolutely categorically untrue. They may fear that that someday will happen, but it is not true right now, and I cannot envision a day. You tell me, do more kids go to public schools or do more kids go to private schools? More kids go to public schools, right? Which, if more kids go to public schools, are more parents the parents of kids who go to public schools, or are more parents the parents of kids who go to private schools? More kids are the parents of kids who go to public schools, which means more voters are the people who send their kids to public schools. So if any legislator gets the idea to introduce a bill to take funding away from public schools, he's going to have to be accountable to the voters. And no legislator is going to propose that. None.
Mostly sunny, warm afternoon. The high today 89. Partly cloudy, thunderstorm in the area tonight late, low 68. A thunderstorm around tomorrow morning, and partly sunny, not as warm. The high 82. Limited sunshine, a little bit less humid on Saturday. High Saturday at 82. Partly sunny, a hot day on Sunday, the high 90. Partly sunny, a very hot and humid day on Monday. High Monday at 96. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We're your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service.
Am I interrupting too much?
National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Can't pay the IRS? Haven't filed in a while? Receiving threatening letters? Yeah, it's about to get even worse. The IRS is hiring an army of agents targeting hardworking Americans just like you. You need warriors on your side. You need Tax Network USA. Tax Network USA has a brilliant strategy to solve your IRS problem quickly in your favor. For instance, they discovered a limited time special offer that the IRS is willing to waive $1 billion in penalties. Find out if you qualify before it's too late. Never call the IRS alone. Let Tax Network USA attorneys handle it. They have preferred direct lines to the IRS. They know which agents to work with and which to avoid. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debts and offer a best-in-class guarantee. Schedule your free consultation now. Call 1-800-2468-6000. That is 1-800-2468-6000. Or visit tnusa.com/Charlie. That is tnusa.com/Charlie. tnusa.com/Charlie.
I'm a firefighter.
60 seconds.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom.
We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
This is my pillow.
Others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty, something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not. It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
You know, as we approach the end of every week, it's very typical for people to say, what are your plans this weekend? And at this time of year, my plans often involve going to graduation parties. And then, you know, you're looking for, what are you writing, a card? What kind of gift do you get the graduate? May I make a suggestion? We're all invited to parties, right, where we maybe know the parents, we don't know the child, we don't know what the child's likes are, dislikes are, we don't know exactly what to get the child. And cash is fine, but cash is so impersonal. Why not get them something that doesn't cost a lot of cash, but is something they will actually use and be grateful for? I am talking, of course, about a MyPillow. If kids are going off to college, if kids are moving out on their own, getting a job, they're going to be living on their own. Are they going to need a good night's sleep? Yes. MyPillow, the original product from Mike Lindell, which used to cost about $75, $80, is $25 right now. King size, queen size. It's a great gift. Wedding gifts too, right? Wedding gifts. Do people sleep? You know anybody who doesn't sleep? No, I don't. You know anybody who doesn't lie down and want a bargain? MyPillow.com, $25 sale. Use the promo code Bruce. Now we have in Columbus, you know, a very, very innovative police department, and it's run by Democrats. We borrowed top brass from the city of Detroit in Mayor Andrew Ginther's unending quest to turn Columbus into the murder capital of America. We went to Detroit and we got our police chief, we got our assistant police chief, and we got our inspector general. And our murder numbers have been shockingly increasing ever since. But incidents like happened the other day where we have a guy with a knife and he's threatening people and the police have no recourse but to shoot him. That's unacceptable to the people in democratic politics, which is to say the people at Columbus City Hall, because the mayor, the law director, the city council, everybody there's a Democrat. So we are in process, but not yet at the point where when we have certain incidents happen with certain characteristics, we will not be deploying police to those incidents. We will be deploying social workers. This is a national phenomenon. A lot of cities are starting to think about doing this, and Columbus is going to get fully on board with this. They were not fully on board with it. It's not implemented quite yet. And so when 35-year-old Noel Hernandez refused to comply with police orders the other night and rushed them with a knife that he had been wielding at several other locations and not complying with police orders to put the knife down, but rather getting back in his car and driving to another location and threatening people, they fired their weapons at him. And unfortunately, they killed him. Now, we have a little bit more context on this now. 5 hours before Monday night's shooting, Police Chief Elaine Bryant told reporters yesterday that Columbus police conducted a wellness check on Mr. Hernandez in response to a call from a neighbor. They spoke to Mr. Hernandez and the neighbor, and Columbus police officers deemed that Mr. Hernandez was not a threat to others or himself. Chief Bryant, and I'm waiting for her to say the officers acted appropriately and for the position where it won't have to wait like 9 months before these officers are exonerated, which of course won't happen. They'll have a grand jury and they'll make these guys twist in the wind, or women, they'll make them twist in the wind until they exonerate them, just like they did with the cops on the South Side who shot the carjacker, who got out of his car and shot one of them before they could actually return fire. She's not going to do that. She says the officers had no legal reason to go into Hernandez's home, and they left after filling out a mobile crisis response unit referral for the next day. Mr. Hernandez did not want to wait until the next day. Around 11 o'clock that night, he got in his car and started unleashing his mayhem on various locations in the city of Columbus. At one of those locations, an officer tased him, and Mr. Hernandez walked away. So apparently they need more powerful tasers, or Mr. Hernandez was under some kind of the influence of something, and it did not faze him when they tased him. A second officer tried unsuccessfully to tase him again. And then Mr. Hernandez advanced toward the group. The officers opened fire. Now, the mobile crisis response unit, had it, this is basically the social workers, had it been available at the time, would have been dispatched. But the guy in charge of it said at the press conference yesterday that the unit was not available at the time of the incident. And it hadn't been cleared yet anyway. So I'm curious. Do social workers not work at 11 p.m.? Because it's my experience, we've had people shot in the middle of the day, but most of the time, like, you know, bad things happen after 10 o'clock. Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. The old Tressalism. But like, if we're going to have this unit of kinder, gentler response people with non-lethal force, we're going to have a lot of people in trauma units, and it won't be the bad guys. It'll be the social workers, because this guy rushes at you with a knife and you're like, tell me how you're feeling right now. You know, that's not going to work. But they were not available at 11:15 p.m. I don't know, because I don't think like a Democrat. That's my whole thing. Now, we are told all the time, right, particularly this month, that diversity is our strength. Diversity is our strength. Vivek Ramaswamy, who ran for president on the Republican side and will probably be a part of Trump's cabinet if Trump is elected, and I think Vivek is. If I had to pick the next governor of the state of Ohio, I'm putting my chips on Vivek Ramaswamy right now. He hasn't declared, but I'd put my chips on Vivek Ramaswamy, and I'd be happy with that. Vivek Ramaswamy speaking the other day about this notion that Democrats have that Diversity is our strength.
We're diverse. So what? Doesn't mean anything. Unless there is something greater that unites us across that diversity. E pluribus unum. It's on the back of our coins for a reason. It means from many, one. That's what we've lost in this country. When my parents came here, we used to talk about the melting pot. You don't hear about that anymore. Apparently, that's a microaggression. I reject that. This country was founded on, yes, we could celebrate our skin deep differences, our diversity, if it can be a beautiful thing, only if there's something greater that binds us together across that diversity. Without that, just think about it. What are we? A bunch of different looking two-legged higher mammals with a bunch of different shades of melanin, walking some geographic space that we call a country, doing what our iPhones told us to do on a given day. That's not a country. This country is a vision of what that place can be. That's America. Do we believe that vision still exists or not? I do. But it's going to take every one of us speaking those truths, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. The truth that God is real. It's not God's not a four-letter word. We will not apologize for it. We are one nation under God. That's who we are.
Now, Vivek is a Hindu. He worships a different God than I do. But the fact that he acknowledges God and does not demonize people who have a different version of God than he does, the fact that he understands that diversity as articulated by the Biden administration is not diversity at all, because it's not diversity of thought. It's not diversity of ideas. It's not true to the principles of our founding fathers, who made freedom of speech the First Amendment for a reason, because it was the most important, and made the Second Amendment second because it is the second most important, in that the citizens have to have a right to bear arms to protect them against government tyranny. And no matter what Joe Biden tells you about how you can't own a cannon, it's a lie. No matter what Joe Biden tells you about voting being suppressed, no matter what Joe Biden tells you about how black people are still being discriminated against on a widespread basis like they were under slavery or under Jim Crow. These are tired, old, fabricated, untrue lies told by the Biden administration, which has the veneer of American exceptionalism. But in fact, they show us every single day they don't believe in American exceptionalism. They don't believe in the foundations of our country. Who on the left can articulate the vision of America as well as young people who are smart and successful like Vivek Ramaswamy, Josh Hawley, J.D. Vance, on and on and on, like bubbleheads like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? No, that's why you don't give up, because our future is much brighter than theirs.
Under the impression that a metal roof costs 2 or 3 times more than a shingle roof? No, it doesn't. Hi, folks. I'm Dan Tolan, owner of The Metal Roof Company. As your foremost metal roofing authority in Central Ohio, I can promise you it's the most inexpensive roof you'll ever buy.
All right. Hope you guys had a great day. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining. And talk to you again soon.
721 Roof. 721 Roof, or reach out to us on the web.